Alright guys, so earlier this weekend I went to Comic Palooza. This was my first time going to a Comic Con. I went with my wife, and of course I went as my favorite franchise characters from Mortal Kombat. I went as Kenshi and my wife went as Jade. And funny thing is, after I went as Kenshi, I realized, I've talked myself out of making a proper Kenshi action figure or custom action figure, which if you know my channel or know my page, then that's usually what I do. It's custom action figures and dioramas. But I convinced myself that I can make a custom Kenshi because I thought it would be too much work. Meanwhile, I made myself into Kenshi. So, how did the lady say it? Let's get ready with me. Let's get ready to make a custom action figure. I got all my I got a couple of my figures out just to get a size reference. I got these two TMNT figures. I think I got them on sale, 2 for 20 or 2 for 30, I think. About a year or so ago, and then I just picked up another two TMNT figures that was like 30 bucks a couple months ago. Walmart has a couple deals on those TMNT figures for those 2 packs. Anyways, you see they're a good size. They stand pretty nicely next to my custom jacks and my Shao Kahn from Storm Collectibles. And this guy right here, he's gonna be my Kenshi. And the other guy with the black, I'm gonna make him Shang Tsung. As you see here, I got a bunch of bits and pieces. And here I got pieces and bits. Now I have a lot of action figure accessories stored away, and then I have all of these accessories that you see are for customizing. All the hands, all the pieces, all of these are for when I'm making my custom figures. I have a whole nother storage thing that's just dedicated to my collectibles that I actually keep and don't customize. So as you see, I got a couple swords he could use, tactical gear, weaponry all over the place. My boy said if I wanted him to have any of these things. Here I have some more customizable, I think monsters and bones essentially are in this. Different monster pieces, accessories, skeletons. And these are gonna be the souls to help us, Kenshi, when he gets his powers, he's next to a soul well. I don't have that soul well right now. So we're just gonna use these little soul spirit guys to kind of help us create this. Oh, here is all of my Mortal Kombat collectible accessories, the ones I don't customize. Well, that's all their hands and things like that. And on the other side is their weapons and some of their special effects. Again, this is for all of my MK figures. I think I have about 30 or 40 MK figures. A good 15 or 20 of them are customized. About 15 of them are customized. And then the rest are like how I bought them from the store. Searching for different things. I was thinking of using the katana that came with Scorpion. I have a couple Scorpions, and this katana is nice, but to be honest, this goes to my yellow Scorpion, which is probably my most valuable. So to be honest, I'd just rather try to fix that and give it back to him. I'm pretty sure I'm about to put it back down. Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather just keep that. I have another sword, though. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We'll have a better sword that we'll put out for Kenshi. Now, in case you don't know anything about Kenshi, Kenshi is a blind swordsman from Mortal Kombat. He's been in a couple games. He is my favorite Mortal Kombat character. I think he's been about 3 or 4 games. He usually wears all red. He usually takes inspiration from a samurai. Has a katana that is connected to his ancestors with soul magic or spirit magic that's tied to it. And yeah, he's typically a good guy. Well, yeah, no, he's always, I think, been a good guy. He has some issues with his son, but then that's later discovered that, he gave him the son so that he could get his son to train harder while he was trying to find the person that killed the mother of his child. So he has a very interesting story, very interesting dynamic between him and his son, because, of course, his son kind of grew up not liking him because he wasn't around. Before his son found out, oh, you was trying to get revenge on my mama. Well, it didn't exactly go peaceful reunion, but very interesting. As you see, we got the souls around him. We got Shang Tsung prepping. If you don't know, Shang Tsung is a big part of why Kenshi goes blind. He tricks him into going to a well and tells him, hey, your ancestor's sword is here, basically, which was true. But when he opens up the well, when Kenshi opens up the well, the souls blind him. And then Shang Tsung uses that to suck up all the souls all the ancestors of Kenshi that was pouring out of the well. So he basically just used Kenshi to get what he wanted. As you see here, I'm trying. These figures came with arm guards or arm wrappings, and then they came with arm guards that you could slide on. I want Kenshi to have those. I want him to have this kind of samurai look that isn't necessarily a full-on like I'm a samurai warrior, but something where you can think, okay, this dude picked up a couple samurai armor, or maybe he was an old samurai who's just missing some armor, you know. I want it to be somewhere between there, where you can't really tell if this is a samurai who's just been through a lot of shit, or if he's just been picking up pieces of armor here and there, and kind of made his own makeshift armor. Let's see. Now, this is my first time in a long time making a custom action figure on camera, so I might not have the best experience with the blur issues and doing stuff off camera because I didn't realize that I wasn't in frame. I'm putting on the shredder hand onto this figure because I like those blades. Kind of gives off this weird kind of samurai-esque look. I don't think I'm gonna like it. I think I'm just gonna, yeah, I know I'm not gonna go for it. I think I'm just gonna try a couple hands out and then put it back down. I'd rather keep those hands with the other 2-pack figures. That way when I customize those, I don't have to worry about repainting skin to match. I'd rather this dude keep his normal hands and then switch the other hands. I could repaint and all that, but there's already a couple things I want to do with this figure. So to be honest, the more I can take off of my plate to add to this figure, the better. That way I can see my vision fully. Now, I did put, this is the other 2-pack TMNT figure, that red body. And I pulled it up because I want to see how this head would look on it, which it fits perfectly because they're all NECA. And this body, honestly, is tempting. It has that dark red, you know, Kenshi is kind of a lighter red, but he has some darker reds mixed in. He has the better joints, kind of, with the actual shoulder cut, because the other figures I'm using does not have a shoulder cut. You can kind of see it with that Shang Tsung in the background, or who will eventually be Shang Tsung. But at the same time, even though this doesn't have a shoulder cut, this arm on this figure can actually reach all the way across. Like, he can take his left arm and reach all the way to his right shoulder, and vice versa. Crossing his arms in the Wakanda style if I wanted. You know, he can just kind of, he's more flexible even though he doesn't have a shoulder cut. So I'd rather keep that body, plus he's skinnier, and I think Kenshi should be on the skinnier side. This dude in this dark red or wine colored outfit, he's a little bit more bulkier, and to be honest, the twin body that comes with him, I don't know, I think I'd rather customize those into either Shirai Ryu or Lin Kuei members. I still need a Smoke, Cyrax, Sector. Ooh, that would be cool if I did Cyrax and Sector, but I need a black guy for Cyrax. I made a Cyrax a long time ago, but I wasn't that pleased with him. Plus, he could barely move around. I used to make some of my customized Mortal Kombat figures from WWE figures, but they don't have that much articulation, at least the cheaper ones that I bought, the $20 to $30 ones. As you see, I'm comparing like their ab crunch and their different articulation, just trying to decide on who I want to before I fully. And you know what's sad? I've compared these bodies back and forth for the last several, basically since I got these red body figures. I've been comparing them, trying to figure out who I want to be Kenshi, Shang Tsung, or what, and I always go back and forth. So at least with this video, I'm making up my mind on exactly who I'm going to use versus constantly going back and forth on, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Let's see. Yeah, see, this is the original head. This is that duplicate body. One got a shirt off, and I also can't fit this armor piece on his chest, whereas for the other one, I can. Or like for the original one that I was going to use with the black pants, I can actually fit the armor on his chest. It needs a little bit more adjustment, but I really want this samurai armor on. Now, funny enough, this samurai armor piece I got from a dollar store. It was a dollar store that was by my old apartment a couple years back. And they used to have these dollar ninjas, and I used to pick them up because they had some cool accessories. And this is one of the pieces that I kept. Now, I'm gonna do some customization, but yeah, this is one of the pieces I've kept for years now. What, about 4 years, maybe even more? And finally I get to put it in use. It's really just been like on a fake armor stand holder, and it went inside a dojo that I made a while back. Let's see. Here's another example of me doing stuff off camera. I've cut out most of the stuff that I do off camera in this video, so hopefully it's not too bad. Putting on the hands again, and the armbands. Kind of getting that silhouette for myself, trying to see how it's gonna look, or get a little bit of an idea of how it's gonna look before I start drumming things and sanding things and painting them. Now I like these shoulder pads. I know they're different, but if you look at pictures of Kenshi from Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat X, and even Mortal Kombat Snowblind, especially Snowblind, he has different looks across the board. Again, typically it's samurai inspired, but sometimes he has this makeshift samurai armor, like he picked up different pieces. So I like the fact of having two different armor, or two different shoulder pads, and just add them too. So I'm kind of sliding it up under his samurai shoulder pad, just kind of getting an idea, playing around with it. Here we go with the blurriness again. Now I use a lot of hot glue for a couple of reasons. For one, I don't like to do stuff permanent, because if I use super glue and then I don't like it, now it's permanent. I'm using hot glue. It's not, I can just pop it right off. Now sometimes that's to, the detriment of my figure. Sometimes I do use hot glue for permanent things, or things that I want to be permanent, which isn't smart at all. But that's usually when I just can't reach my super glue. In this case, I'm just trying to get a good idea of how it looks, how everything looks together. So when I want it, I'll get some super glue and add it to it, but I'm pretty sure I don't keep with that. I'll grab one of my stands so I can stand them up and let you all get a good picture of them, good idea of them. There we go. As you see, we got enough green and soul accessories to service Shang Tsung, Shinnok, and Quan Chi. Now, here's me trying this big ass sword. Now, this sword comes from my Marvel Legends Deadpool figure, specifically the 12-inch figure. I have two of those. One I customized into Sandman, which you might have seen on my page, and then the other one I want to keep as a normal Deadpool. That's really my wife's other one. But yeah, this sword it looks kind of cool, but it's too big. Like, I do like how it looks cool and stuff like that, but yeah, it's too big for him. Not really just in length, but like literally for his hand. His hand looks so tiny, trying to wrap around that. It's just gonna look weird, and it's gonna pop out a lot. I'm gonna end up having to use like super glue, or not super glue, but like hot glue or something like that to keep his sword in his hand. So ultimately, this is not the sword I'll go with, but don't worry guys, because I got plenty. All right, now it's time to get my boy some Shin armor. He needs some leg armor. Now, this armor piece, or these armor pieces, I'm pretty sure come from an old Scorpion figure. I took a Scorpion figure, an MK11 Scorpion figure a while back from McFarlane, and I customized it into Noob, or into Cybot, to go with my Noob. I wanted a full-on Black Ninja, so it was the quickest body, and it was the cheapest body that I had at the time, because it was one of those variant, ugly Scorpion variants that McFarlane made. I don't know what's going on with that, but anyway, yeah, I customized it, took off those shin pads. I think they were his armor pads, his arm pads for a while, and then I combined them. I think it was a shoulder pad and an arm pad. I broke them off and I combined them, so I still have these, and they look like a whole new type of armor piece, and so I'm using them as the shin guards / knee guards for Kenshi. Now, I guess I'll take this time, since we can't really see what's going on the screen, to talk about my history with making figures. I love Mortal Kombat. Love Mortal Kombat. However, a lot of people don't make Mortal Kombat. Storm Collectibles is high as hell, and I love Storm Collectibles because at least, I say they're high, but they give you a lot with what you're paying for. A lot of accessories, a lot of different hands, special effects and stuff like that. And then you have McFarlane. Now, when McFarlane first came out, he was $20 a figure, and I personally like that. He didn't have much accessories going on, but it was $20 a figure. So compared to spending $80 to $100 with Storm Collectibles, or sometimes $120, $150, like my Shao Kahn, I could pick up a $20 McFarlane figure and get a similar, and also those Mortal Kombat figures was really good detailed, like sculpts too. Fast forward a couple years later, McFarlane stops doing his Mortal Kombat 11 run, and he gets the rights to do Mortal Kombat Classic, and it has been ass. I have picked up some of the Mortal Kombat classics. I'm not gonna act like, I'm talking ish and not buying the stuff. But I can barely buy them. They're high. They're 30 something plus. And don't get me wrong, I could buy them, but it feels dumb. It feels dumb to spend $30 on a figure that I was low key barely spending 20 on to begin with, to get less accessories half the damn time, unless I'm buying his double packs, which are like $70. And because how limited he's made them, it's been hell because everyone is buying them up and you can barely even find them. It is extremely annoying. So I got a Scorpion and Raiden 2-pack. Again, I'm using some super glue right now. Now, hot glue. For this, I do keep it as hot glue. And this is because it's not a flushed surface between the underside of the armor and the front of his leg. So if I use super glue, it's only going to have a couple points of contact and it's going to break off easily. So right now, hot glue is the best thing to use, at least for my arsenal right now. There's a couple other things that would be better, like contact cement, or like some gel type base glue. A couple other things out there. Gorilla glue could even help. But anyway, hot glue is perfectly fine, because at the end of the day, I'm going to use enough the way it's really stuck on there, and then I'm going to go through with the hot glue on the edges and kind of trim off that extra glue so it's not spewing out the sides of the legs, and then I'll paint it. Again, there are definitely better options, but for what I have right now, this is fine. Now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, McFarlane. So now he's dropping figures at $30, $32, $34 a piece. They're still color swaps. It's interesting because now he's finally doing more characters. It looks like we're finally going to get a Jax. Like, I had to make my own custom Jax because nobody wanted to make the black guy. I know it's deeper than that, but whatever. Is it really? Like, seriously, McFarlane be lacking a lot of times in black characters and female characters. Now, I know this is McFarlane, who made Spawn, one of the best black characters out there. I get it. I'm just saying, still, maybe it's not his fault. I ain't saying it's a race issue or a sexist issue. Well, I think it can be a little sexist on him not making women figures. His claim to that is he don't think men will buy them. And he acts like he don't have women collectors, which I know majority are men. But us men like us some women. So I don't understand the thought process behind that. But he dropped a Melina finally, and a good katana. I didn't get the katana in time, and now it's like $50 fucking. I'm not buying that hoe. If I do, it won't be anytime soon. And Melina is a 2-pack with Sub-Zero, who I really wanted, but I grabbed the Scorpion and Raiden pack first, which I'm happy for because it's Scorpion. But now that Melina and Sub-Zero pack is $150 to $200 on Mercari and Amazon. It's effing ridiculous. I think I saw it in one place for $400 for that freaking Melina Sub-Zero 2-pack. Because you have a-hole people out there and McFarlane limiting everything. Anyway, as you see, I'm trimming down some of the parts on here. I only really want the chest piece. The flaps that go on the side, I can recreate myself if I really want those, but this is perfect. Now, I did do some of this stuff off camera. It's still me doing it. It's just, look, some of this I'm not comfortable doing on camera, like at the weird angles and stuff like that. So I will just do my cuts and all that type of stuff and then show y'all what I did. Hell, even Dremlin here, you can't really see what I'm doing. So I feel like this was kind of pointless, but you get the idea. So yeah, I bought some McFarlane stuff. I've bought some Storm collectible stuff. Every now and then I'll save some money, or my wife will buy it for me for my birthday or Father's Day. She got me Shao Kahn, the Mortal Kombat 9 version. She got me Shiva. So it's been interesting, but I've greatly slowed down. You know, I have children, have bills. We all have big things to do. And so, and the economy, you come to a point where you're trying to decide, you know, my BS money, where do I want it to go? And if I wanted to go to my collection, okay, what do I want to collect exactly? Do I want to collect one thing, or do I want to be able to get maybe 2 or 3 things? If I get one of McFarlane's MK figures, it's probably just one thing that I'm getting. Because I'm not trying to spend that much money. I'm already trying to cut back. Whereas if I go maybe Ross, I could pick up 2 or 3 action figures for very cheap and then come back home and customize them. Or go to Walmart. That's how I got these bodies I'm working with now. Now, this piece I just put on his back / chest, this is a belt harness set that I got from the old Foosh, now Robo don't know, but his old page, the old Foosh page with the ninjas. I have a bunch of those ninjas and I have a bunch of their accessories. See, it's starting to come together. And now with that harness thing on his back, it looks like it's holding the samurai breastplate. So I really like that. It looks like his samurai breastplate has been held on his body from those loops versus it just sitting on the front. Since I don't have a back piece to it, I think this is clever. Now, like I said, I went to Comic-Con or Comic Palooza with my wife this weekend, and I made my own Kenshi outfit. This was my first blindfold that I made, just to get an idea of what I wanted. And I have a wire in here. So I'm actually going to reuse this material with the bendy wire that I have in here. That way I can give him the same effect that I gave myself, which was allowing him to be able to pose his blindfold so that it looks like it's blowing in the wind. And that's what I gave myself. You know, I put the wire in there so I could pose it in different ways, and it kind of gave a cool little effect. My first cosplay, I definitely used like the wrong materials and everything else. However, I learned some better materials from my cousin, for sure. A whole lot of better skills and things to do. But I used some of my action figure, I guess you could say skills or action figure ideas, and implemented in my cosplay. One being the wire, bendy wire inside, so that I can pose the cloth itself. So I'm cutting that out. I'll probably re-glue along the edges, and then I'll get a lighter and burn off all those frayed pieces. I like to keep different cloth in my bag and in my my little areas, so that whenever I'm customizing figures, I have different cloth to pull from. So I have like old pair of jeans that my wife don't want. Her old tights are the best. Guys, if you have a wife who has tights, she don't want them no more, keep them, because those are really good to make like bodysuits out of. The stretchy material is perfect. It's just, it can be difficult to cut and then re-sew or re-glue. But it can be really, it just gives a really nice effect when you try. If you're really good at making bodysuits or just decent at making bodysuits, then it gives a nice effect with that stretchable material, especially if you're dealing with figures that are a little more beefier than usual. All right, so readjusting that wire in there. That way I'm just, you know, recycling materials, because like I said, this was my first blindfold. It wasn't doing nothing but getting ready to collect dust. But yeah, so I got into making custom action figures just because I wanted to fill out my Mortal Kombat line. Even if McFarlane figures stayed cheap, he only did so many figures. There was a lot of people that he left off the table that I wanted. And Storm Collectibles, same thing with them. They was pushing out slow, but they gave us some great figures. And to be honest, McFarlane's given us some great figures. If you take price aside and lack of accessories, he gave us a noob but from MK11 look. So with all the armor and stuff, where Storm Collectibles just gave us regular noob, who was just a recolor of all the other ninjas. And now McFarlane's doing the same thing. He's giving us a recolor of all the same ninjas. So, you know, it can be a little annoying, but at the same time, that is the game. That's Mortal Kombat. All the ninjas look the same, recolored. I just don't like how I'm paying a higher price. I mean, some of McFarlane's recolored ninjas are an extra $3 or $4 because of the name. Anyway, going back to complimenting the dude. Back in MK11, or his MK11 line, he had noob. He had a really good Baraka with a great sculpt on it. I had to make my own Sindel using one of his Wonder Woman sculpts, which is crazy. He has some great women sculpts. Like, I used his Wonder Woman sculpt to make my Sindel. I don't understand. Then I bought 2 katanas and one I customized into Melina. But anyway, then I got his MK11 Shao, which was great. Not the biggest thing ever, but a pretty nice size figure compared to the rest of his line. And the Shao Kahn looked great. Great armor, great gold and silver and metallics paints that he added on there. That's where McFarlane is the best at. His sculpts look great. Like, they look like he ripped them from the game. And sometimes I say that price, I mean, his sculpts justify the price. Sometimes. And then there's times where he has horrible articulation with it. And so I'm kind of like, you just kind of killed the mood. These are MK figures. I want to pose them. That's why it took me so long to find this figure, because I wanted to find a Kenshi who can be posed and do the same things that Kenshi can do. And I feel like if I can do that from finding random action figures together, or sometimes Frankensteining them together, I feel like McFarlane can add a couple joints to his figures, even if that breaks his mold that he's trying to reuse over and over. Because, I mean, at some point, what's the extra step? Like, you know, some of his figures were brand new molds, and he still didn't have a thigh cut, and I didn't understand. And some of his figures, he would have thigh cuts. So, like, he was just inconsistent. I don't get the whole toy business on that level of being inconsistent or not when it comes to how you do your action figures and your articulation. As you see, yeah, that glue is sticking out. It's looking a little ugly. I glued it to his head at first. I do reverse this. I just wanted to see how it looked, but to be honest, I realized that I'm going to want to use the figure in different ways before and after he gets blinded. So I'm going to leave off the glue, plus it looks ugly and it still ties around his head perfectly fine. But that'll be later in the video. Don't worry guys, we are almost done. So you see I got the blindfold going, I got that posability, which is really what I wanted. I got that blurriness going. You know, I wanted to keep it in the Kenshi spirit. I figured if he can't see, we shouldn't see, basically. Nah, but yeah, so I have, let's see, a custom Jax. I'm looking for a good Sonya. Oh, let's talk about this for a little bit. I don't make robes. I'm not really good at making outfits, period. But I looked up a video, watched a video on how to make one. Here's the video. This is a lady. I had to watch this video like 80 times, and I think that was intentional because she made it super fast and had it sped up. So I kept having to cut it and rewind and cut it and rewind. Stop the video, rewind. That way I can actually understand what the hell was going on. And then I added my own little adjustments. This robe is too big. This looks like something R. Kelly wore for his I Am the Greatest video. Anyway, I changed it, cut it down. Now I just got some frays I got to burn off. And I think I'm going to flip it inside out later because it don't look that good. Yeah, just burn those off. Just be quick so you don't burn a whole hole in it. But kind of does the job for you. Also should do this probably in a ventilated area. It does release fumes that don't smell good and it's not good, you know, for our lungs. But I kind of suck at stopping and going to find a place that's better suited for ventilation, which is a bad excuse because it's a quick way to have issues with your lungs later. So you should always take the moment, stop, go find a safer place, or just have a mask near you, which I typically try to have a mask nearby, or at least have my fan near so I can turn it and blow the fumes away from me. But yeah, just be better, be safe. That way you can have years and years of making action figures and cosplays and art pieces. And speaking of which, I know this channel is called Diorama King. Don't worry, I have more dioramas coming. The issue is I make a lot of dioramas, I don't post them. Either some I don't like, or I just have been very bad at posting in general. So now I'm getting back on making dioramas from beginning to the end, and either taking pictures, like a bunch of process shots, or I'm really trying to get back to where I can just set up a video and start recording. This is easier because the subject that I'm working on is small, it fits in my hand. But making a big diorama and trying to record it is not easy for me. I literally had to find a good angle that's wide enough to capture everything that I'm working on, while also close enough to actually see the details of what I'm working on. Or you're just sitting there like kind of trying to make out, oh, I think he's cutting out a small brick or something, you know? So I'm working on that. I watch a lot of YouTubers who do a great job of showing exactly their process and having a good angle. So I'll get there. Adding this robe on, it looks a little heavy on his arms. I'm not really feeling that. He doesn't need this robe to stay on, but there are a few times when Kenshi has this like kind of samurai-like robe on, and I like that. He doesn't always have it on. I think his first several depictions, he doesn't have a robe on at all. But in MK11, he has a robe. I mean MK11, MKX he has a robe, and then in Mortal Kombat 1, the reboot, he also has kind of like this robe or trench coat kind of look. So just going for something that kind of covers his armor. It doesn't need to be something that's flushed against him or detailed. Just like I said, something that covers his armor. And I'll probably remake this again later down the road. But now we're just kind of getting an idea of how it fits on him. I'm gonna trim some stuff, see what poses he can do in it. So back to what I was saying. Yeah, I made a custom Jax. I took a Mortal Kombat 11 Raiden from McFarlane and turned it into a Shinnok, which is probably one of my favorite customs because I did it years ago with barely any customizable experience. It was probably my third or fourth custom figure at the time, but it still has held up. Some other customs have not held up, but this one is still really strong, really good, so that makes me happy. So let's see, I'm looking to make a Sonya or a Jade, but it's hard to find good women action figure bodies that are 7 inches because I kind of screwed myself sticking with this collection between McFarlane and between Storm Collectible because they're 7 inches. And a lot of the figures I find are like 6 inches. Like for example, I found a good G.I. Joe body and I'll probably post her on here soon. I did a little stop motion with her. I was like, that would be a great Sonya Blade, but she's short, like significantly shorter than the rest of my figures. And I know, some of my characters can be shorter than the others because of height differences amongst characters, but it's kind of drastic. So as you see, it's looking a little bit better. Just checking out my posability, seeing how he can stretch his arms, making sure everything is good, not hindered. And then I'm gonna cut and trim stuff around his feet. That way he has more movability. Just kind of getting used to it. I also added the bendy wire inside the robe with that extra trim for the same things that I listed earlier, being able to pose it. I didn't put the bendy in the back or around the bottom trim, which might have helped with even more posability. But I think honestly adding it around the main trim like that, around the neck and around the front piece, is probably the best way to go if I was just gonna put one bendy in there. Just kind of checking stuff. We're almost done here. I think I'm gonna flip it inside out. I already have, yeah, which hides the seams a lot better, especially if you're gonna go the route of not sewing, which I suck at sewing, and like sewing is relatively easy. It just takes a long ass time. So like this video or this process would have taken me a whole nother day just to try to, or for me another day, because I would have spent a couple more hours if I was trying to sew this garment together, and then I would have taken a break because I have other things to do. Funny enough, I think I was able to make this custom figure in a total of maybe an hour or two. I know this video is about 30 minutes, but yeah. So now it fits on him a lot better, looks a lot better. Just flip it inside out. I think I've already cut the bottom trim. Of course, I did that off camera too. I was thinking maybe giving him like a belt or something to tie around. And I still might do that, and I'll probably do it around the same material like his blindfold, or just do it the exact same way as I did his blindfold. Bendy wire and all. Yeah. Kind of getting an idea of how I want to pose it. As you see, like I said, I'm not good with making cloth goods, but it's not that hard. So definitely push yourself, because like I said, I just watched the video. Oh yeah, look at that. That works for me. Now it's time for painting. Yeah. Now, a lot of the painting, if I'm correct, I do not do on camera. I got a little glue I gotta get off. But next is ultimately sanding them down, sanding all the little armor pieces. I'm keeping the legs black, but this samurai armor guards on his arms and the chest piece and the knee pads all need to be painted red. Now it's also sword choosing time. As we see, we got some good poses going. This is another scorpion sword. Now I do use this scorpion sword. So this one came with the ugly green scorpion. I don't know why McFarlane even made that variant. Funny enough, I don't even have that variant scorpion. I just have his swords. So I was going to show all the footage of me painting, but this video is already long enough. So I'm gonna do us all a favor, and I'm gonna skip to the end. And in another video, I will show the process of me painting, because I already have all that footage, but it doesn't all need to be added to this. So let us do us both a favor, and no, that's not it. It's close enough. Well, no, it's not close enough. But as you see, we have the pieces and armor all fixed up. No, let me stop being childish. Let's skip to the end. And there we go. That's my boy. Came with custom ancestral spirit holding his sheath and all. We got the nice red sword, or handle on the sword. We got the blue at the bottom of the sword. We got the red going with the gold and bronze and silver scratches going, and all kinds of different things that you will see in the next video. But this video is way too long. Here he is with his robe. Oh, it's too big. But anyway, it still looks nice. It's workable. Don't I have something on here with some poses with him in his robe? I think when I pose him fully in his robe, it looks better. But this just looks like he's in something way too big. But yeah, this was fun. I finally have my custom Kenshi. Like, I've made a Kenshi before, but I wasn't that pleased. But this one, I'm definitely pleased with. And of course, I have to do a stop motion, like with this figure. I have to fully debut him with the stop motion, which means he's gonna need his own diorama, which means we have to do the Well of Souls in which Kenshi, there you go, you see it already happen, in which Kenshi lost his vision. So wife already made the whale that you see right there. I'm taking the bust that I bought from Comic Palooza, and I've made my floor, my walls, and very soon you're gonna see a diorama video as well.